Hey guys, Andy here. Just want to jump in before the episode and let you know that my mic had some difficulties. You'll hear my voice cutting in and out. I did my best to clean it up, but I couldn't quite do it perfectly, so my bad on this one. Next week will be better.
Welcome to the Geek 101 podcast, episode 218, It, Chapter 2. This meeting of the Losers Club has officially begun. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Andy Bowman.
And today we are joined by friend of the show and Patreon and frequent guest, Sean. How are you, Sean?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, Sean is a friend of the show. He's a longtime listener. We're here to talk It, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Sean, we still have to get you for another episode with Mike. The schedules didn't work out. But we'll get you on so you can have a chat with him. He hasn't disappeared. Mike is still he's still around. Yeah, he's still alive. But before we do a review on It Chapter 2, Andy Muschietti's It Chapter 2, we have some news. And Andy, why don't you start us off?
Okay, first things first. Margot Robbie's Tank Girl reboot has a director in the form of Miles Joris Perafiti.
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced.
It just rolls off the tongue.
I haven't seen anything this person has done. Have either of you?
Yeah, not here.
He's done a bunch of short films, a French short film. Unknowns have worked before. I didn't even know that Margot Robbie was doing a Tank Girl reboot.
Yeah, I had no idea this.
Mandy, did you know?
No. More power to her.
I feel like Tank Girl is kind of like the vibe that they want to get for this, like Harley Quinn that they want to do in Suicide Squad or Birds of Prey or whatever.
God, I wish they would change the title. The title is so bad.
What happened to just Birds of Prey? Why does it? Why do they have to center around Harley Quinn? I mean, I know why, but
sell tickets, I guess.
Yeah. What were you guys' thoughts? So for those of you who don't know, the It Chapter 2 trailer had like a special Warner Brothers-y Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of... What is it?
The Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
So they had like a Birds of Prey teaser where she's like, I'm effing over clowns, which I liked for the most part. But what do you guys think of that teaser?
It was, I guess it looked all right. It didn't show much. It was just like really quick flashes. I really like, what's her name that plays Huntress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I've always liked her a lot, so I'll probably see the movie just for her, but I'm kind of over Harley Quinn and just this, I don't know. And like I said, that title is so bad, but yeah, I'll see that. Like I said, I like her, and I'll give it a chance.
Andy?
I mean, it was certainly a teaser. It almost gave me an epileptic seizure there.
Right.
It just everything went by so quickly, and I forgot how quickly this movie is coming out.
Well, yeah. When is the
February?
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah.
I was thinking March.
Yeah. So I think there's a chance that this movie's good, and I think it might be good because they're basing like the movie. They're filming the movie based on the tone that they want, instead of like Suicide Squad where they're like, hey, we have to edit the movie to the tone that we want.
Right.
Also, this is coming out the first weekend in February.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I guess we're all a little optimistic, cautiously on this Birds of Prey movie. Another big piece of news that's dropped, I've seen it confirmed some places, seen unconfirmed in others, that Haley Steinfeld, who is an actress that was recently in Bumblebee, I think that would be where our audience would know her most from, is in talks or has been cast as Kate Bishop in the Disney Plus original series Hawkeye.
Yes, I love Kate Bishop.
Yeah, I like Kate Bishop too. I like her a lot. Like way more. I like her theoretically way more than Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
Especially now.
yeah.
She's this character.
She's really good in. I think it's Edge of 17 is like a
Yes.
coming of age movie. She was really good in that.
Yes.
Andy, what are your thoughts on this potential casting?
I like it. I really enjoyed Edge of 17. I also really enjoyed her role as Spider-Gwen in the Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, she was really good in that.
She's also really good in True Grit.
Oh yeah. She was quite young in True Grit. That's a good movie.
Yeah, she was like 14, I think. Yeah.
That's a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good in that. She was really young. She's actually she's mixed. She's like part Filipino and part black. So I'm hoping like I don't want to say capitalize because it gives such a jaded connotation to it. But it'd be really cool if they made her mixed, like one of her parents is Filipino or something. I think that'd be really fun and really cool. But yeah, that's a good idea to cast her. Andy, you sent me this trailer that I didn't get a chance to watch yet, for our last piece of news for a show called Waragami.
It's gonna be Woo Assassins on the CW.
Oh wow, I'm so excited.
Is that show really bad? Everyone I heard said it was really, really
Woo Assassins? It's
yeah.
dreadful. It's awful.
I heard it's unwatchable.
Also, I do want to go back to Haley Steinfeld really quick. I think this tells us that Disney wants to cast movie star level people in these Disney Plus shows. These shows might actually function as like the origin stories for the movies.
Yeah, that this is their phase one instead of putting them in movies. They just put them here. That'd be an interesting take, and I'd really like that. Okay, I think that's all the news we have. Strangely slow week this week on the geeky news front. So let's talk about Stephen King's It. Sean, I'm guessing you recently rewatched It Chapter 1 because we were talking about doing that. What were your thoughts on the first movie before we get into Chapter 2?
So I really like the first one. The first It Chapter 1, or whatever you want to call it, is I really liked it. And I didn't really expect much of it at all, so that might have contributed to it, my initial reaction. But yeah, I watched it again, and it's still really good. It holds up. It's the kids are great, especially the Stranger Things kid, Finn Wolfhard, and yeah, so it's good. It's really scary. I thought they did well with the limited budget that they had. There's a couple times you can really see the scenes. I think it only had a $30 million budget or something like that. So you can really see that sometimes, but I think they still the vast majority of it looks pretty good for the budget that they had.
Yeah. How about you, Andy?
I really enjoyed Chappie 1.
Chappie 1.
Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed the child actors. I thought that the scares were there. It was actually able to be tense despite being a little on the long side.
Yeah, I can see that. I really liked Chapter 1 in the theater. On a home rewatch, I think it was a little, I don't want to say bloated. I think chapter 2 is bloated. I think the first
Oh
one
yeah,
was,
we're gonna get into that.
yeah, for sure. I think chapter 1 they wanted to streamline the It story, and this is the problem with 1 and 2. They wanted to streamline this crazy 1,000-page book into two movies, and so you don't get any of the like community and camaraderie building that makes the book so successful. And so if you're like, it's like watching it's like watching a supercut of a 10 episode series, like the quote unquote best parts of a 10 episode series. And so it works in a lot of ways and it doesn't work in some.
Are you talking like the whole thing together as a whole?
No, I think each individual movie as well.
Oh, okay.
Like I think this should have been 2 8 or 10 episode seasons of like on like HBO or or AMC or Stars or something. Like it would have been amazing. Because you need this level of production value and I think actor quality. But the story, there's just too much to the story. You either have to simplify to a point where it's unrecognizable, or you have to do this and just do like horror scene, horror scene, horror scene, horror scene, horror scene. Like I think especially chapter 2 is just like one horror scene after another after like a really awesome like character building scene. But chapter 1 I think was better.
Yeah, see, they do that in chapter 1 too. It's like, because you get like sort of the setup, and then it's like each kid gets their horror scene. I think it works in the first one because it's the first time you've done it, but then they retread that in the second one, and it's far less effective. In fact, it's not good actually. That part of the movie is like my least favorite part, which well, I'll get to it later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Have either of you read the book?
I did in high school, which was 20 years ago at this point, so over 20 years ago. So I don't remember a whole lot. I mostly remember the 2 really infamous scenes, and then there's a scene that I remember with Richie that I'll talk about later, because it ties into like one of my criticisms of the movie. So,
all right, Andy, have you read the book?
Never read the book if you can watch the 1996 miniseries.
I read the book the summer chapter 1 came out, and I remember it being this like amazing experience of a book, and really not minding the 1,000-page, for the most part, like not minding the 1,000-page like page length or whatever. And then you get to like, yeah, it's 1,100 pages. And then you get to like the last 20% of the book when the infamous scene happens with the kids. I don't want to go into any spoilers for someone who's looking to read the book or something like that. And I don't know if either of you guys have heard of it, but it's just like, wow, dude, like, come on.
It just really fits so well.
Yeah. Well, I read it, so yeah, I know it, and it's
right, Sean. It's just
it's awful.
Well, to me, it doesn't fit at all. It doesn't make any sense. And like he's come out and tried to defend it here or there, but really, there's just no place for it. Like it doesn't tonally, it didn't fit into the book at all. It was strange to me.
The only defense for it is the time period he wrote it in, and what he was putting in his body at the time. That's the only defense.
So if you're curious,
you can Google it.
You just Google it. Yeah. Just Google it. So in the first movie, they just do the thing where like they cut their hands and like hold their head. Like that makes way 100% more sense to me than whatever it is that they do in the book. So let's do quick grades for it chapter 1. Sean, what would you grade that before we talk chapter 2?
I think I would give it a B+. Yeah. I think that's what I think originally actually I gave it a B. I think it's actually gone up for me. I've watched it a few times since, so I think I would give it a B plus. Yeah.
Andy?
I would go with a B plus as well. It's a solid movie. I think that the structure's good, and it's so much better than the Tim Curry version.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give it a B plus too. I had it an A minus before the rewatch. I remember really enjoying it. I remember my only criticism of Chapter 1 being Bill Skarsgård's voice. I felt like at times they could have gone with a more, sound edited voice instead of his like, I think most of the time they're just doing his normal, like he's doing this weird like ho 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 like voice, but most of the time they're not like making it deep and scary and monstrous, and I really feel like they should have. But yeah, so B pluses all around for it. Chapter 1. Sean, what were your thoughts for the follow-up for it Chapter 2? We'll go spoiler free for about 10 minutes, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of it.
Well, it's long, and it's definitely not as good as the Chapter 1. It kind of, even though I know it's technically not a sequel, it's like the second half of a movie. It still suffers from a lot of the things that we think of with like sequelitis, I think. Yeah, it's definitely not as good. I would say I didn't hate it. I would say I mostly enjoyed it. It's probably like my favorite movie that I've reviewed on here, but of course that's kind of a low bar if you've heard my appearances before.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as Chapter 1 for sure.
How about you, Andy?
I mean, I'm really okay with it. I think that the adult cast is, for the most part, phenomenal, and it has a lot of really, really interesting moments that the trailer spoiled.
Yeah. Did we all have this conversation about Godzilla? Were you on for that, Sean?
Yeah, I was on for Godzilla.
Yeah. I literally feel this is it's the same exact problem.
How so?
I think like the best scenes for both Godzilla and this were in the trailer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because that is a great scene, but it was totally spoiled by the trailer, and
right.
Kind of needlessly so. Like the trailer, like runs 2 minutes of the scene. Like
I know that was so bizarre to me when I first saw it. That was my thought. It's like, why are they doing it like this? That there's no need to show an entire scene from the movie, especially when it turns out to be like the best part of the movie.
Yeah, totally agree. Anything else, Andy?
No, I just really think that the adult actors were fantastic, and yeah, it's bloated. When I first walked out of the theater, I thought it kind of fit the 3-hour runtime okay, but the more I think about it, the more they could have cut so much of this and changed nothing.
Yeah, I agree. I watched this on Monday night at a 5:15 showing. So plenty of time for me to watch and then go home and unwind and like go to sleep. Because if I'm not in bed by 10 o'clock on a school night, and I'm not a kid, I'm not in school, I'm a teacher. So like if I'm cranky, that gets a bad deal for the kids and for myself, my job performance. It was about 8 o'clock, 7:45, 8 o'clock when I got up and left and went to the bathroom, and I texted Andy and I was like, I've got about 45 minutes left. Like, do I need to stay? I ended up leaving because it's just, I was so bored 2 hours in. Nothing scared me.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. It's not scary.
It's not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I wasn't being scared, and besides, I think Bill Hader, I don't think, even him, he's not given a ton to do with it. Most of it is just, like, his charm. I don't think the cast is given like a good script. I don't think this is a good script. The rumors were they used the Cary Fukunaga script for chapter 1, and then they didn't have a chapter 2 script, and so they wrote it themselves. Andy Muschietti and whomever is on the writing team. I felt the pacing was bad. I felt that they had a missed opportunity by not just filming parts 1 and 2 at the same time. And so like the kids aged 3 years in 3 weeks, and like especially the scenes with Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, like you can see the CGI on through his glasses, and it's really weird and really jarring. I just like, to me, like the movie was boring, and you can't have a boring horror movie because like I almost fell asleep, and I'm not supposed to fall asleep during horror films, so that was my take on it.
So wait a minute, Ariel. Are you saying you missed the big reveal that this was actually the second half of Dark Phoenix?
Just what's her name from X-Men? I mean, from Game of Thrones, just shows up, and she's the one who like eradicates the clown. We spoiled it. We did it.
Right, and I mean Jessica Chastain's still playing her ill-defined alien villain.
You're right. I mean, well, technically, Pennywise is some form of spoiler. Pennywise is some form of alien, I guess.
Right, and he says your emotions make you weak, and then she says, "No, they make me strong."
Why is it every I think you guys mentioned this, but every female superhero is so tied to her emotions? Like, what?
Women, man,
it's so frustrating.
It's literally it was Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and Dark Phoenix. It's literally three of the same plot lines.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
because I watched Captain Marvel again, and then my wife wanted to watch Wonder Woman again, so we did that like recently within like a week, and I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. I was just sitting there shaking my head the whole time, like.
Do you guys not define the women in your life by their one emotion?
It was
No.
see at least in Captain Marvel, it was like they're trying to suppress her. Like Dark Phoenix was nonsense.
Yeah.
I think Captain Marvel did its best.
Yeah.
But in Wonder Woman, it's just like I love Steve Trevor.
And they've known each other for like 3 days.
Oh, that wasn't great. Okay. So should you watch? What are some? See, this one's hard. Since this is like a sequel, like you should watch this if you liked it chapter 1 and you want to know how it ends. I would say is the appropriate sentence there.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
If you really like the DCEU and you want to see a few glorious moments of their next movie.
Sure. Yeah. Watch this. All right. Let's talk about the spoiler-ific things that happen in this movie. All right, Andy, where should we start?
Okay, I think we should start at the hate crime right at the beginning.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, in the beginning of It Chapter 2, there is a hate crime that happens. It's pretty violent, it's pretty brutal, it's pretty graphic, and it does happen in the book. What were your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, it is in the book, but I think it's contextualized in the book a lot better. Because here it's just like it's like it just sort of plays like they're just trying to show something brutal happening to a member of the LGBTQ Q community. It's just it doesn't play very well. It's just like brutality for the sake of it. And because in the book, I know they're trying to show like this is the town. This is like the sickness has kind of pervaded like the entire town, and you don't really get that here. So it's just kind of gross, you know. And then it's followed like almost immediately by a domestic attack, and which is even, I think that might even be worse because there's like no nuance to it, and it plays like a trope. Like he says all the things that you hear in movies with abusive spouses, you know, it just plays like really tropey. It's not nuanced at all. And so with the opening attack, it's not good.
Yeah. Andy, what were your thoughts?
See, for me, I spent the entire opening scene thinking to myself, okay, which kid is this? Which one? Which one grown up is this? Which actor? You know, I was trying to tie it because I figured that it would have to be one of one of the kids grown up. So and that's one of the things that makes it weird is that it's just people in the town. It's not any specific character already. I think it would have been kind of nifty if they hadn't made Bill Hader's sexuality a big mystery that really, and just had that be him.
Yeah, that's not in the book, I don't think. Sean, do you?
Richie?
Yeah.
No, because that's what I wanted to get to. Because they hint that something is going on with him and is it Ben? Who was it?
Richie and Eddie. Ben's the fat kid.
Okay, yeah. So so they imply that there was something there, but yeah, that's not in the book, and it doesn't earn that at all because
no.
Because this is what I wanted to talk about. For whatever reason, I remember the way they introduced. In the book they introduce the characters as adults, as who they are now, and the way it introduces Richie is that it reveals that he had a vasectomy years before, and it didn't work, and he's had a lot of sexual relationships, so he may be on the hook for a lot of kids, I guess, now. And they cut that out, I guess, so that they can do this thing with Eddie, but it doesn't earn it at all.
Right.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
So the reason why it doesn't earn it, they flashback to hints of it, but it's all in this movie. It's it's a decision that they made only for this movie. Now, if you had given me hints of it in It Chapter 1 or It or whatever the first movie was in 2017, then you've earned it. Then you've built seeds. But to me, this was just they did it for representation's sake. In regards to the opening with the hate crime, I was really frustrated because in the rewatch of the 2017 movie, not every time, but most times, you see that the town is affecting people. Somebody in that scene's wearing red, and it's really clear and very intentional. And I don't. The mere fact that I don't remember it in the hate crime scene means it wasn't good enough. Because if you did that, right, if the kid beating up on him is wearing this bright red that we're so used to seeing, then it's a very clear callback to the first movie, and it shows you that it's this town that's messed up and not just what are we watching here? In the book, the 3-4 kids who commit the hate crime are arrested and caught, and one of the kids.
I knew something happened to them.
Right.
Yeah, and they were teenagers, right? They weren't grown adults in this.
Yeah,
right?
They were teenagers, and they one of them sees Pennywise along the boyfriend and one of the attackers like sees Pennywise kill the person that they've assaulted. So it's very different and like weirdly done better in a book, despite Stephen King's not so great track record of being sensitive to these sort of things. But a puzzling, like, it's not very well done in it chapter 2.
No, not at all. And does it explain in the book because it's supposed to be only it's only kids that can see Pennywise, right? And that are affected by Pennywise. Does it explain why it's like adults in the book, or?
Wait. What adults can see Pennywise in?
Well,
the losers.
No. The gay couple, they can see it, right? And I don't think they're kids because they're talking about like moving to New York, and I don't think. I mean, even
maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting question there. Andy, any other thoughts on the hate crime scene?
No, it just felt weird.
Yeah, you can see what King was trying to do in it, and it's very clear in the book because like I think the book opens with that scene.
I think it's the Georgie scene first, and then I think that's the prologue is the Georgie scene, and then the hate crime. Like the first chapter is like a hate crime.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the first chapter. Yep, I think that's exactly correct. What did you? So my favorite scene in the film, of the ones I watched, was when the losers gather back up in the Chinese restaurant, which was like puzzling to me. Like, why are they choosing a Chinese restaurant? But I think, like, one, that's a thing that people do. Like, I do that. And two, I think the fortune cookies were like a really great device, despite being
that was good. But after that, it was bad.
Right. I didn't find it that, like, I thought it could have been scarier.
Yeah, it should have been really scary, and it wasn't. But the fortune cookies was creepy.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on that reunion scene, the official meeting of the Losers Club?
Pretty much just what I said. I mean, it's really good. The whole thing is good up until like the CGI mess starts coming into it. But before that, it's really good. I think it does well of like showing the characters interact with each other, and I think that's Bill Hader's best scene because another frustrating thing you kind of touched on it, Ariel, is that with Bill Hader, like I don't think this movie knows how to use him, and I think it really shows in some parts. Like the scene where he's introduced with the comedy scene, it was just like spinning its wheels with that. Like it didn't know how to use him. But I think it works really well in the Chinese restaurant. Everything up until the CGI is pretty good.
How about you, Andy?
I liked hearing the back and forth, despite how insanely successful all the losers are. Like, it just insanely successful since they left Derry. The amount of I really bought these for people who didn't remember each other until a few hours ago. I bought that. I liked the back and forth. They very quickly like felt like people who were incredibly comfortable with each other. I enjoyed it a whole lot.
Yeah, I really like how the book handles it, where it's like everybody is really successful, but everyone's a mess, right? So their childhood trauma has affected them in a way where like they're no matter like it's just a way for like Stephen King to show you like it doesn't like your monetary or physical or like professional success like doesn't matter because ultimately you are just so rooted into how you were brought up and the childhood trauma that has affected you throughout your life. And I think it was important for him to make all of them successful. And I really liked the chemistry these actors have because this is a scene where actors are like, I'm guessing, they know the context of the characters, and so they are allowed to play through those characters instead of trying to get through whatever the plot dictates the actor to go through. And so as a result, like, the performances are so much more natural in this one scene than they are at any other point in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
Ariel, is Billy a Stephen King stand-in in the book as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
He's a writer.
Yeah, that was a fun little cameo by Stephen King. And
I thought it
I
was
hated
kind
the
of jarring because, like, everyone knows who Stephen King is. Like, nobody knows what other writers look like unless you're a nerd and you studied English like me. But everyone knows what Stephen King looks like. I just thought it was a little jarring and it went on a little too long. I mean, it was fun, but at the same time, it was.
So I think the Stephen King fans will love it. I think normal film watching fans, like the three of us, will be like, eh. And I think that young people, was it Gen X? Whatever. People younger than millennials might not know what he looks like. And so they'll remember him. They'll remember that scene perhaps and like look it up later. But I don't think people like younger than, me and Andy. I don't know how old you are, Sean, but I presume you're around our age or older.
I'll be 38 next month.
Okay, yeah, you're older than us. I don't think people younger than 25 generally know what Stephen King looks like.
Okay, yeah, you might be right about that, but yeah.
Okay, so did you guys like the streamlining of getting the tokens for the like they know what the ritual is and streamlining like how they find out about the ritual and get the tokens and do the ritual of Trud and stuff like that? Did you like that change?
Like the change from the book?
Yeah.
I don't really remember it in the book. I know it wasn't the same. They didn't, but as it is here, no, I didn't. This is actually the part of the movie I didn't like. It's kind of funny how a lot of the criticisms I have of this movie are the same criticisms I have with Endgame, because I feel like it just kind of spins its wheels doing these fetch quests in the middle, just like in Endgame. And I don't really feel like it pays off for it, because it ends up being, I don't know if you even watched it, but like it ends up kind of going nowhere with the tokens. Like, is that what you thought, Andy? Like, am I wrong? It doesn't really seem to go anywhere, right?
Okay, there were so many cooler things they could have done.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking different things. Like, imagine if they showed the kid going off and doing their thing, and Pennywise scaring them in one way, and then you see the adult see the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like they could have done that, or they could have also had Pennywise not show up on some of them. That would have been more intense, but instead it's just like, oh, you got vomited on for no reason. Because you were dumb and you went down there for a random reason, and I don't understand what the tokens actually are. Like, it just seems like, oh, random things.
I guess it's supposed to be that they're like kind of like burning the past or something. It doesn't really explain it and like the need for it, and like I said, it ultimately really doesn't mean anything. Because spoiler, it doesn't like work. So when they burn the tokens, so I don't know.
So in the book there are no tokens, but Mike tells them, he's like, in order for us to be able to do this, you need to remember. And so like he's like, let's just split up, come back tonight, try to walk around town and like restart your memory, like jump your memory. And I think that's a natural way to get them to
That's
split
so
up.
much better.
Like it's in the book. I don't understand the token thing where it's just like, hey, let's split up, let's come back. In the book, what happens is, minor spoiler, Bill, Bill gets caught in the lights at some point when they're younger, and he recognizes a way to kill or something like that. And so Bill is the one who ends up remembering what they need to do or how to find it or how to kill it. But eventually they end up just figuring out how to kill it in so so in the movie they're insulting it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all about facing your fear and attacking your attacking the thing that makes you feel small, confronting your trauma, things like that. There's a natural way to do that without the tokens, without a ritual of truth, things like that, where it's just hey, we need to walk around and figure out where this thing is because we don't remember it. And I think there's a cool mystery way, X marks the spot way for the writers to have done that, where the audience wants the characters to do a certain thing and maybe they are and maybe they aren't doing it. How I would have been invested if somebody walks past the abandoned house and still doesn't remember or something like that, instead of hey, remember the shower cap that we found in this coffee thing?
Yes.
Oh, that's Stanley's token. That was kind of lame, and I think we could have gone away with the Native American graphic and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was frustrating too, because the Native. Okay, let's show some Native Americans, and what are they doing? Smoking peyote.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why don't you just show them at a casino? I mean. But yeah, and the thing with the clubhouse I thought was dumb too, because there's no hint of that in the first movie. Why not put that in the first movie when it's all about the kids? And it's the only reason why it's there is to emphasize that Ben is an architect, I guess, and he had the he was interested in it even back then. Well, great, that wasted 15 minutes for no reason. So.
Yeah, I liked the Stanley scene when he was seeing him when he's older. I think that was.
They should have done more of that. Of that's because that's what you were saying, right? They go along and they have the memories. They should have done more like that.
Yeah. Andy, what else are you thinking about for chapter 2?
Okay, so there's one thing about James McAvoy's performance that really spoke to me and kind of hit me. So I was born tongue-tied, and after getting a very minor surgery, I had to relearn how to speak, and that left me with a stutter as a kid. I still get a stutter when I'm really stressed out, and McAvoy's first of all, stutters are usually done terribly by whatever actor.
Benicio del Toro, for example.
Oh yeah. My! Oh.
Yeah. Old Man Snoke's boudoir.
But McAvoy does this thing where he's getting stressed out. He starts to stutter, and I could actually see and empathize with this sense of shame and frustration at not being able to say what you're trying to say, and you're already stressed out, so it just makes it worse. And McAvoy did that very well. That really kind of hit me. That and the scene that once again was ruined in the trailer, the fun park, where McAvoy's, it's really really short, but when the little kid gets killed in the House of Mirrors, that was a really cool scene that I wish they hadn't shown at all. I don't know why it had to be in the trailer.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What do we think? So we talked a little bit about Hader. We talked a little bit about McAvoy. What do we think about the other actors for the Losers Club?
I thought the guy who played Mike was really good. Especially, I don't know that. I don't know if you guys know. The only thing I remember from were the Old Spice commercials. But
That's
I
him?
guess, yeah, that's him. The guy is like, I don't know, it was really stupid. He's like, look, I'm riding a horse or something. And yeah, I'm sure he's been in a couple other things, but I haven't seen him. So I thought he was really good. And Jessica Chastain is she's always really good. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
Who knew?
Jay Ryan as Ben was a poor man's Joe
Manganiello.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he was the weakest one to me.
That's what I thought too.
he was so weak as just compared to everybody else.
Well, they didn't really give him anything to do either. I mean, the script didn't do him any favors.
What are you talking about? He's in love with a girl from, however long ago.
Well, to be fair, Andy, I think we're all in love with Jessica Chastain, so it's not really all that hard a role.
Yeah, but I looked up his his acting history, and he's just very, very TV focused. So I'm guessing that they really wanted Joe Manganiello.
Sure. I really liked James Ransone, who plays Eddie, older Eddie, was really good. It was,
good.
It was unbelievable how much he looked like younger Eddie.
I thought the one that looked the most like his younger counterpart was Stanley. And he's the one that's not in it.
Was who?
Stanley.
Oh yeah,
he looked exactly like the kid.
Andy, do you know where that actor is from who plays Stanley, the adult Stanley?
Yeah, Swamp Thing.
Yeah, dude, it took me forever to figure it out, and I was like, man, this guy's pretty handsome. Where's he from? I recognize his face. And of course,
Swamp Thing?
Yeah, he's in Swamp Thing. He plays Alec Holland, who becomes the Swamp Thing. Spoiler alert.
I haven't watched it, so.
I mean, nobody has DC Universe but me and Andy's. So.
Thank you, patrons.
Yeah.
The money I used that I would use for that, I give to you guys. To have, so.
Well, it's yeah. I think Bill Hader works really well as Richie because of like tonally, and the performance really works. I don't think McAvoy. I think the whole time I was frustrated with him trying to keep his American accent on point. It's I just know him so well as English actor James McAvoy that I couldn't quite pay attention to him. Ultimately, I ended up just not caring about anybody or anything in this movie because that sense of unity and camaraderie was gone from the first movie, and I really wish that they had found a way to recapture that. It's the plot's fault because they immediately they need them to split up, and then they're back together in danger, and so there are no scenes to the only scene to establish that is early in the Chinese restaurant, which was my favorite scene of the movie. Anything else about it, Chapter 2, that we want to mention and talk about?
Guess that's about it. I didn't. Well, Andy, what did you think of the ending? Since Ariel didn't watch it.
I thought that I thought it was the least scary part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I also enjoyed some of the trippier stuff that happened. With Jessica Chastain stuck in the bathroom stall. I enjoyed the three doors, the scary, not scary, and very scary.
Coming back.
Yeah. The problem is it's a retread. We already did that. But yeah, it's
right.
I did like it.
And then Eddie dying, oh, cool.
What? So I laughed. Does he bite his arm off?
No, I don't
He
think
just
so.
gets stabbed through his
Yeah.
torso.
He bites his arm off in the book. So that'd been way cooler.
Is he the only one that dies besides Stanley?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
in the book as well.
But that's
So
what
so is Stanley's suicide note, quote unquote suicide note, in the book as well, where he's like, "Hey, I just knew if we all weren't there, it wouldn't work, and I wasn't gonna go."
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they realized. I think they do realize that that's why he did it, but it's not a note. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it works way better if there's no note. Where he was just like, you know what, like some people can't handle going back. Like, and I think that's part of the message of the book.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's a great message to send. Like, if you know that you can't do it, just kill yourself. I don't think that's a really great message.
No, I mean, yeah, but like that, yeah, right. That's something you could do in a book and you can't do in like a mainstream film.
Yeah.
What were your guys' thoughts on the Henry Bowers stuff?
It was pointless. It serves no purpose at all. Just to pad the runtime. That's it. That's all it does. I mean, am I wrong? I mean,
Andy?
Man, there would have been some cool scenes in there with him and the zombie driver, like. But yeah, no, it was dumb. It was there to give Eddie a really cool moment where he gets stabbed in the face and then stabs him and makes a joke.
Yeah, it happens in the book where
does it serve more of a purpose in the book? I don't remember.
Henry is another, like, he is another vehicle for it to like work through. But it's still not great. You know, I'm not. Excuse me. We talked about this in another episode. Looking at you, the terror, where it's just like, hey, we don't need like straight up psychopaths introduced into a supernatural story about something completely different. I think it works more in the book because you're just given so much more leeway to like extend the story and have it feel natural. I think in a movie that was 3 hours long, you probably should have just cut it.
Yeah, because it just doesn't go anywhere. Like, he shows up and he causes some trouble and kills some people, and then they kill him, and then that's it. And it just, you can take him completely out and nothing has changed.
Yeah, they are. Like I said, Stephen King is saying something about hometowns and childhood trauma and how it affects people in different ways. And there's something right. There's something to say about Henry's, like what happens to Henry in there, but it's like, man, like we're just trying to make a movie, you know. It's not like that for this.
Right.
Anything else in regards to It Chapter 2? You have anything, Andy?
No. I'm more negative on the movie now after talking with you guys.
That, I mean, you know, that does tend to happen with like middling movies and stuff. All right, yeah. See, this movie's not gonna make any lists of mine. At the end of the year, probably on a high or a low note. So let's give it a grade. Sean, what was your grade for It Chapter 2?
I was thinking a B minus, but I think, like Andy said, I think talking with you guys, I think I might be down to a C plus at this point.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. Andy, how about you?
B plus. I thought Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was terrifying.
Yeah, that was much better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I thought the first film was way better. Scary Stories was a way better film as well. I couldn't even finish it. I'm gonna give it a C minus.
That's fair.
Part of it is that I read the book, and if I hadn't read the book, I probably would have stayed. But yeah, man, that was tough for me. that's it. I guess there's not actually a ton to talk about because it's just like the story's kind of simple, right? Like you said, it's Endgame, or it's like, hey, we have to find these things and complete this ritual, even though that's not how you would say it for Endgame. But like in Endgame, you have this incredible like payoff of not.
Yeah, you have the payoff, and plus like, I personally don't care for it, but I think a lot of people do, like the trip down nostalgia in game, and you don't even have that here. So I mean, it's
Yeah, and in this one, it's it is what it is. All right, before we do that, we do have homework. Sean, do you have homework, a recommendation for the listeners to check out this week?
Yeah. So I haven't like watched a lot or read anything lately, but I did watch a movie recently that's sort of geeky. I think it's a new movie from I think his name is Zhao Yimou, the guy who did Hero and House of Flying Daggers, and this movie is called Shadow. It came out in China last year, but it was released this year in the U.S. And it's not. I will say, like, there's not as much action as something like Hero or House of Flying Daggers, but the fight scenes are done really well, and I think there's a lot of like palace intrigue, and I think it's done really well. So so it's called Shadow.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I don't know if you listen to the Slash Filmcast, but they talked about it recently.
Yeah, that's actually what when Dave talked about it on Slash Film, that's actually what made me want to watch it. So
nice. Andy, what's your homework this week?
I just realized I've already talked about Infinity Train, so I'm gonna do an anti-homework. Do not watch Men in Black International.
Why would you watch it in the first place?
Because I was interested. I had a rental credit, and I was like, what? I'll give it a shot. It is bad. It is a movie with no soul. It is I can't even describe.
It's aggressively bad. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I saw it because my wife wanted to, but it's not good. I second that. Don't watch it.
Yeah, it is an entirely like capitalist cash grab with no heart. And it's annoying because it's like you need somebody who cares about a property if you want to bring it back. Otherwise, it's just gonna fail. With Men in Black, you look at something like The Hobbit. For these like things that are like undertakings and stuff like that, it's really, really annoying.
Yeah, I don't know if you were talking about F. Gary Gray, but like with not caring about the property, but he is so hit or miss. Like he's done a couple really good things, but he's also done a lot of crap. So,
Law-abiding citizen, anyone?
That movie is at least fun. Like Men in Black International is not fun. Like it's Law-Abiding Citizen is just so bonkers down and crazy sauce that it's actually a lot of fun. But you don't even get that with MIB. So
yeah, my homework. I guess my homework this week is the next film in our 1999 retro review, and that is Pokemon: The First Movie, aka Mewtwo Strikes Back. Like I'm not entirely sure what the proper name for this movie is, but I do have a caveat for this homework. Apparently, the Japanese version of this film is like way different than the American version. And if you want to know the differences, you'll have to listen to that podcast, which I'm recording directly after this podcast. So there's an American version of Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, which is an unnecessarily long title. There's an American version. There's a Japanese version. We'll talk about the differences. The Japanese version, of course, has more nuance and is infinitely more interesting than the kid-centric American version. American producers don't trust that their audiences can understand nuance, and it's really frustrating.
The movie was also remade in like 3D animation earlier this year.
It didn't come out yet in the States, right?
Right. Mewtwo Strikes Back. Evolution.
Oh, geez. That's part of why we're reviewing it. And it came out in 1999, so it's the 20-year anniversary. So maybe Andy and I will talk about Mewtwo Strikes Back. Was it Evolution?
Evolution.
Hopefully it's better than Dragon Ball Evolution.
Well, it's not like it could be worse.
No, definitely not.
It's actually a sequel.
Definitely not. Yeah. All right. Before we sign off, Sean, where can we find you online if you so desire?
Yep, I'm on Facebook. Be up on there. I don't post anywhere else really. So.
All right, you can look up Sean there. Andy, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Hebrews Pale Ale.
Right, you can find me at Dread Pirate Roddy. You can find the show at Geek 101 Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and Patreon. Email us geek101pod@gmail.com. That's the way out for today. Class dismissed.